to go back and fix. Let's bow our heads in a moment of prayer. Our Father God, we praise you, we love you, and we honor you with our gifts. We thank you for giving us the structure that we might be able to join together as your body, as your people, that we might be able to make great strides for your kingdom. And today, as we go through the best laid plans that man can make, we ask, Father God, that your Spirit would be in them. We ask, Father God, that you would make this place a place for you, a place for your kingdom, a place for your learning, and a place for your peace. That we might be an entity in Bethany to reach out to those who do not know you, to those who are hurting, to those who need comfort, and those who need rest. We pray, Father God, that we would use the things that we have been blessed with, that we might give those things back to you to make a better place for your ministry and your kingdom to realm. We praise you so much. In your name we pray. Amen. So again, this is just a cover page. This is about 45 pages long. I will be scrolling a lot, and you may close your eyes just a little bit as I move around on this PDF and zoom in and out. So we're going to go down quite a ways. If I can find the page. That's the plumbing page. We're not going to go over electrical and plumbing and things of that nature. This is basically a layout of the entire church. And when we're looking at these documents up here on the screen, it's always going to be from a plan view on most of the things we look at today. When we look at this, I am standing right here where the hand is right now. And then the screen is right up here. That kind of gives you a reference of where the building is. The narthex and where the donuts sit are right out here. The work that we're going to be working on is in two main locations. The front of the church is going to entail this area right here. Going to be about these bathrooms, the closet right out here in the front, and then over here there's going to be a little bit of work, and then the rest of it is going to be back here in the back. This is the gymnasium right here where the hand is floating. This is room 111 on the plans is Barnett Hall. These are the restrooms this is how they're going to look, not how they look right now. Then you have the kitchen here, but then in the back, and a lot of you guys don't recognize that we may even have restrooms back there because they are so in need of repair. There's some restrooms back here that we're going to be remodeling as well. We are going to be looking at the Family Life Center, named multi-purpose room on the set of plans. We're going to take all the floor out of that and then build a mezzanine back over here in the back, which will provide us a few different things. It will allow us to have storage for chairs, tables, and things of that nature that we need to use for family dinners, gatherings in this room back here. Actually, a meeting exactly like this. We didn't know where to have this meeting because of our projections and things of that nature. And then when we remodel this, we could have a meeting just like this back in that area as well. And then the youth, our next generation coming up, is extraordinarily important. To provide them a place to make sure that we have good ministry for our next generation to become good, strong adult Christians is paramount and part of our mission here at St. Mark's, and building them a room of their own that they can have a place to get to know each other, get to know the youth director, get to know the Spirit of God is incredibly important. So that's a lot of what we're going to be working on as we go forward. And that's basically an overall detail of what we're going to be doing. We are going to be doing this in a couple of different phases. To come into the church, and we're remodeling every bathroom that exists in the church, and we kind of decided that if we shut all the bathrooms off at the same time, that may not be the best decision. So we're going to come in and do half of the work, actually about 3/4 of the work, and then come back later and do the other 25% later. The first half of the work is going to entail everything back here in the gymnasium. So when we start that, hopefully around January, it'll be kind of shut off to everybody to get back there because everything will be kind of exposed and dangerous and things of that nature. We'll try to keep it clean. and make it available for people to look and see progress going on, but it will not be usable for most of that time. And we'll be working on the gymnasium, the Barnett Hall restrooms, and then also the restrooms back in the back of the gym. The other part that is part of that phase, we will be working here in this location right here. That location will be having a family bathroom, which we do not currently have. That will be more of a private bathroom that is a big enough area for people to take children in there, to make sure that we have a good changing room, a private room for them to be, and then also be able to get out. And part of that is we're going to do that bathroom. When we start the second phase, we will be working on these bathrooms, and they will be shut down. So when we're doing the second phase, we will have one bathroom at the front, which will be kind of limited on Sundays. So anybody that does not have mobility issues, we would ask to go to the back of the church to use the facilities, which is kind of a walk. While some of the people that do have mobility issues or even small children, they can use that bathroom in the front. So that's kind of how we're trying to work around making sure that we continue to have church, but yet we still update the church as we go. It will cause us some hassles as we do this construction. There will be a lot of dust around. There will be some tools left out on Sundays that shouldn't have been. There will be some things that we get a little bit upset about, but we're going to have to work through that as we go. So let's get a little bit more into detail. Is everybody clear on that so far? I see thumbs up. I see shakings of heads. So we will go back up to the top. And we'll get, instead of that tiny little drawing, we'll be able to see a little bit closer what we're doing. And we will look at the demo plan first. What the area that we're looking at here, I just want to talk about this picture just for one point. This area right here is where we're going to be putting the family bathroom. We're going to take out the existing storage 2 rooms here. The mop sink is going to be taken out. It will be moved up here, and then the family bathroom will be there. The rest of this work will be done during the second phase. The other part that will be done during the first phase will be, this is the gymnasium bathrooms. And for those that have been back there, there's a shower here in the men's room. There's 2 showers here in the women's room. Those showers are pseudo usable as long as you don't have, if you have a very low level of modesty, they're very usable. But if you have much modesty at all, it's kind of difficult to use these showers. So we're going to be taking those out. Plus, they've been back there for 45 years. Things do need to be upgraded. They also have a vestibule type situation with 2 double doors that we're going to be removing, taking out all the plumbing and redoing that. And then in Barnett Hall, the main part of the construction that we will be doing first, that you will see first, is that these 2 bathrooms here that are nice, they have very nice finishes in them. However, they're very small. And so the men's room ends up only having be a single person restroom, as well as the women's is a single person restroom as well. So we're going to take these out, not necessarily due to the condition of the finishes, but due to the condition of how they're able to use. This area right here where you see the 1, 7, and 5, if you kind of watch the way that the room is used during any of our gatherings back there, that area is not really used all that much. So we're going to tear this wall out, and we'll be moving that wall out a little bit further to give us a lot more room to have a larger bathroom. And then in the gymnasium, on the demolition plan, what we're going to be doing is taking out the storage closet that is there. We have a wall back there that is about 10 foot tall. That will disappear. All the youth, it's not really shown on this plan because all of it is really furniture to kind of build a pseudo room. That will all be taken out as well. We are going to be removing all of the floor, as well as all the walls and things back in the gym too. And the floor will be replaced with a rubberized activity floor that is good for both gathering spaces and also for light use of like gymnasium and basketball and things of that nature. We do look at getting rid of this basketball goal down here at this end, as well as a scoreboard. Those two things will disappear. We will have a basketball goal still down at this end, and it'll be basically about a half gymnasium ready to go. So that is the what we're doing to tear it out. And this plan right here is what we're going to be building back. And my screen is jumping around. I apologize. There we go. Looking back at the family bathroom. After we tore out that area there at the front that I spoke about very shortly, this family bathroom will be a very good size, have a toilet here, a sink here, and have a baby changing area over here for a lot of our new families, as well as some of the people with mobility issues, to have a lot more room to get in there and have a little bit more privacy. The janitorial closet will be shrunk down quite a bit, but we will have a mop sink over here and a very small area for supplies and things of that nature, which we'll talk about this storage during the next phase of the construction. Back in the back, when we are looking at doing the Barnett Hall restrooms, this is what it's going to end up looking like. Again, we brought this wall out from this line right here. That wall comes out almost to this door to make an area to where you have an area to walk into the restroom. The men's ends up having two different stalls in it, along with two different sinks. So when we have meals and we have gatherings and things of that nature, it's no longer you have to walk a long way because there's only one restroom. There's a little bit more room for that, as well as in the women's room, have a comfortable area. What happened there? Have a comfortable, well, this full screen is getting with me. A comfortable area for people to use the restroom in there, well, along with two stalls, a couple of toilets. Now, the original kitchen that was back in Barnett Hall, we call it the small kitchen. We're taking out all those cabinets in there, the sink, the refrigerator will be gone, and that is going to be more just of an open storage area to be used for different things that we use in Barnett Hall, instead of partial kitchen, partial storage, partial just whatever room that doesn't get used well at this point in time. Then we also have the laundry room that we use for CDO and other purposes back here in the back. And then these rooms go into the children's room, which is down here a little bit to the bottom of that page. So those are the new restrooms in Barnett Hall. The new restrooms that we're doing over here at the back of the gymnasium are going to look completely different again. One of the things that we're going to be doing is currently at where it says P2B right here, there is a wall with a door in it. That wall will disappear. You won't have to go through a door anymore. And it'll be just an opening straight from the gym back into the corridor. And then you walk right into the women's room and walk right into the men's room. And a lot of that reason is because we do a lot of work with CDO. We work with a lot of children, and monitoring children in bathroom type situations is a lot easier when you don't have to worry about doors and looking through windows. Also worry about them running off. You have a little bit more control whenever you don't have the doors in the way. And this gives our teachers a lot better control and safety for the students that or the children that they're taking care of, as well as it gives us a lot more room back in the restrooms as well. We are not increasing the capacity of these restrooms. In fact, we are taking one shower away from the men's, one shower away from the women's, but you will have a private area to take a shower. This is a changing room with a shower right over here that'll have a roll-in shower. So it's not going to be necessarily a handicap shower, but it will be an easier shower to get in and out of. It's not going to have a complete 5-foot radius inside the shower, but it will be, you won't have to step up and worry about tripping on anything. And then you will have a door that's lockable and have some privacy to do whatever you need to do. And that's a lot of what we're looking at with that, is we do have some some people that spend the night at church is on the way to missions, or people that do missions here in Oklahoma City. We can be hospitable to them, gives them an area that they can take showers, also gives just a lot of open other resources to be able to use the shower for different reasons. The bathrooms will be flip-flopped, so the toilet will be back over here towards the exterior wall, the sink, and it actually opens up quite a bit. This shower here will be going into the current storage area. For some of you guys that have been around for a long time, that's Darlene's old classroom is what it was called for years. And it's a storage room at this point in time. Moving over to the gymnasium. What we're going to be doing here, that we are looking at the first floor. And with this, the first floor of it, the youth room is going to be built over here to the south side of the gymnasium. Up is to the east on this set of plans, and south is to the right. The exit door going back over to the old volleyball court over in the corner is right there. So we're going to have a set of double doors right here. They will be glass storefront doors that are available to the youth to be able to put different dynamics on the glass on a regular basis, to do different themes. It is also going to allow them to get in and out of the room a little bit more fluidly. There will be an area over here that we're setting up with lighting that they can have a gathering space. That way they'll have a couple of couches, people just sit around and lounge and talk about the things that are going on in their life. Then over here on this side, we'll have a stage set up with the sound coming in about the back of this, and then a sound booth set up over here, right over here where it says P5. It gives them the dynamics to be able to use this room for some teaching, for some just fellowship and communication, and then also for some worship and some preaching as well that may go on back there. There will be some cabinetry over here in this bottom right-hand side that allows, for the most important part of any youth ministry, you can put some pizza boxes up on that and feed them some pizza as they go. So that's one thing that we cannot forget about, is what I was told. Now, what you will see on this plan are these little bitty squares up here at the top. This square and that square, this square. These two squares will be out inside the room, so you will see some of the structure that we have. And the structure being there is because we are going to be putting a mezzanine above that room. And a lot of the thought process of that is when we go back into the gymnasium and we have an area that we can put towards a youth, we can build a youth room that has about a 9.5-foot tall ceiling that works very good for the size of space that we're going to be looking for, because it gives it a very good open look on it. And if we give them that tall of a ceiling, we still have more than enough room in the gym to have an area above. Now, that area above is a bonus space. It's a space that we could use for a lot of different reasons. Having a classroom with the youth, having another gathering area for the youth, having a gathering for young adults and other people as well. So that will be above the youth room, and I'll look at the plans here in just a second. The other part of this storage area right here will be an enclosed area. It's not going to be finished out completely. You'll still see bar joists above your head. The walls will be just plain, but they will have two 4080 doors, which will be a very large opening for us to be rolling tables and chairs and stacking them and unstacking them, and do the same thing that we do now. We have paint that's been back there for 18 years, and if you don't keep paint for 18 years, then you're not doing it right, correct? So, what's that? Oh, yes. Is everybody on board so far? Have I lost anybody? I see thumbs up. All right. And I jumped space again. Level 2 plan. This is the level 2 plan of the mezzanine. What we are doing with the staircase here, at the bottom of the staircase, it's going to be open. There's not going to be any doorways down there at the bottom. Right now, you won't be able to tell it, but there will be a header across here where there will be a beam to support the second floor. But there's not going to be a doorway stopping people, but there will be a doorway at the top. This doorway here goes into the mezzanine area to where people are going to be gathering. There is going to be a storage area both here to the left that we can be storing many things, but one of the challenges of that storage area is just available, being able to get things in and out of it. It is going to be upstairs. It's not like we can store a lot of heavy items and then get those heavy items down on a regular basis. Or this storage area over here, we can keep some tables, chairs, and things used for the mezzanine area. Part of the reason for that storage up at the top is not only because it is storage, but we have to limit the size of the mezzanine to be able to utilize it in our ministry, because you're only allowed a certain amount of square feet at the mezzanine area that we can get. And that's a lot of the reasons for the storage being over here and the storage being over here. And that's the floor layout on this. This is going to be a wall that goes all the way to the ceiling of the gymnasium coming around here. There will be a wall that goes to the ceiling to the gymnasium at this point, and then at this point right here. And then when you look at these small squares with lines in between them, what that delineates is there will be a 42-inch tall railing that will have 2 by 2 inch by 2 inch squares in it. So you will be able to look through this railing. It will be able to see very clearly, but kids will not be able to climb it very easily. I mean, if I tell you that kids can't climb anything, then we all know that that's not possible. But they can't climb it easily anyway, with being able to put their feet inside of it and get over it and everything else. But it has to be 42 inches tall by code, which is a very tall handrail. About as tall as the table that I'm using right now to do this communication from as well. So it'll keep people safe at the top, give a very good open look to the mezzanine as well as safety. And let's look for that. So the question that she's asking is a lot about acoustics, I believe. And so what you're looking for is to say, how is it going to sound in the gymnasium whenever we do this type of thing? What we currently have up there is on this elevation plan, these squares, these rectangles up here at the top. These are the walls of the gymnasium. And those are they're called Tectum panels, but they're just basically soundboards. What we're going to end up doing with those is painting those. If you look on this set of plan, this is a finished plan. This is the wall on the north side. We're going to paint this panel color W3. This panel gets painted W2. This is W3, W3, W2, and then the rest are painted a more solid color. And so it's going to have a design on those. So we're going to keep those Tectum panels back in the gymnasium and make sure that the sound doesn't reverberate. The other thing that we're doing at the floor of the mezzanine, it is going to be a concrete floor. And that concrete floor does allow for noise and everything else to be kept inside the youth room or kept outside the youth room. One of the big things about this area, and Ginger, I appreciate you asking that question, because we want to be able to use the gymnasium and use the youth room. Now, when I was in youth, we wanted to turn the radio up as loud as possible. Well, we probably are not going to be able to do that. I mean, because at that point in time, we lose a lot of the functionality to make it a soundproof room. But we will be able to have fairly loud worship in there and also hold a classroom out in the gymnasium and be able to do things at the same time. Whereas right now, we just have we might be ending sooner than I planned on. My power supply got kicked. Oh, good. It went away. Sorry, you have to listen to me for another 4 hours now. 3.5 is the limit. All right. So this cut through, the cut through that we're looking at right now inside that youth room, there will be a drop ceiling that comes in here. Drop ceiling is basically the 2x4 tiles that you see in most of our classrooms with the lay-in lights. And so it's not going to be finished up to the bar joist. That gives you a lot of acoustical value as well. That's the reason that we wanted to go with the drop ceiling instead of just going with the warehouse look of having the exposed bar joist. That gives us a little bit more acoustics, gives us more options on lighting, gives us more options on temperature control and a lot of those kind of items too. So that's the reasons that we went with that. And then we're looking at the doorway going into the closet on the second floor on that cutaway. This is the wall this is the kitchen. This is going to stay the same except for we're going to be painting it. And then the different color schemes that the architect as well as Jenny and Leslie went through and picking out colors is all going to be there. And then one of the things that we are looking at doing is coming up with some kind of a wall graphic to name the room, whatever we want to put up there, having scripture up there, having a wall that can kind of define a lot of what the purpose of St. Mark's is. And we don't have that wall graphic yet, but that is our responsibility to come up with. The contractor is not going to do that. And then this is the wall that is looking, the Coke machine is right here if you were looking through that window, and then the other classroom is right here, and it just shows those paintings right there. And I think I have lost the elevation that I was really looking for, which is the elevation for the wall at the mezzanine. While I'm on this page right here, this is a very good cutout of what that is going to look like for that handrail. 4 foot max in between the support bars, 42 inches tall, and then have about 3 inches in between the two top bars and the 2-inch mesh there. This is a cutout of what the staircase is going to look like. The staircase will be, I hesitate to say that it's industrial looking, but it's going to be a little bit more utilitarian, because if we go in and put carpet in there, it'll wear very quickly, as well as trying to vacuum carpet or stairs is a nightmare. So it will be a rubberized coating on the top of the staircase. And we will run across that elevation for the gymnasium right here, actually. Almost gave up. So this is the elevation at the mezzanine. The room that you're going to see is the doors going into the youth room right here. Then you will have the handrail at the top, the storage area right here. This is the amount of room that you'll be seeing with the mezzanine, as well as the staircase going up here. This is the beam that I was talking about that will go across from this storage area over to the youth room, and then a 4 foot wide by 8 foot tall pair of doors here for our storage area. The plans do call out, if you ever get into these plans, it does call out the fact that this W1 right up here is going to be painted on a refinished concrete wall, that we'd be taking down the Tectum panels and then refinishing that concrete wall. We have decided not to do that because it would be an extreme amount of work and also reduce the amount of acoustics in the room as well. And so we would be providing ourselves with a lesser product for a lot of work. So we will be leaving the Tectum panels up there at the top, but they will be painted and have a good look, a smoother look once they're painted for people to rub up against. This is the cabinetry inside the youth room. So now we're standing inside the youth room looking out this pair of doors with the cabinets to the left. This is a second story elevation view of the handrail looking out and looking over from the staircase. And the other elevations are for the front. This is a finished view of the gymnasium. And so this kind of shows you that we will have an area here that is rather large. We'll be able to seat about 200 people, a little over 200 people very comfortably, and maybe be able to squeeze in about 250. Be able to have some very good gatherings back there instead of having to walk on that floor that's been here since well before I was here. And it's been worn out since before I was here. And we will have, again, it's going to be about 10 millimeters thick, kind of a rubber cushion floor that is very resistant to, the website on it actually says you can drag tables across it, things of that nature, which that's what churches do. And so the floor should be a significant upgrade to what we have right now, along with the lines in the floor and everything else. So the youth room floor, when I say it's concrete, this is the finished schedule for the youth room floor and the upper floor. I did mention that the floor is concrete, but we are going to be putting carpet down on it. So that's what we're looking at right now. So that was a misspeak that I said earlier. I will misspeak while I'm up here talking. This is kind of a layout that we'll be using carpet tiles to make the top floor have a pattern with the carpet, as well as the youth room will have a little bit more of a carpeted area to, again, delineate where that gathering room is back here, and kind of puts an arrow towards where the stage is going to be over here as well, to have a much better look for our youth. When we look back here at the restrooms, this is a tile plan that this room right here is going to go to ceramic tile that flows right into the restrooms and gives a good maintenance as well as a good look to the area back there as well, to keep it a little bit cleaner. One of the things that we are still looking at, and it comes down to a little bit in cost. Part of the work that we're doing back here in Barnett Hall that's not shown on these plans is we have chosen to have the contractor remove and replace the tile in Barnett Hall. And we have two different options to put down the tile that we have throughout the rest of the church in Barnett Hall, and then go to ceramic tile in these areas. But then there's another option that if we can make it work within the budget, we may go with a different kind of vinyl tile that welds together that's a little bit more durable, and have that in Barnett Hall and then flow directly into the restrooms. But we're still seeking out pricing on that. Oh, and the samples are out in the lobby, is what Alan just told me. I didn't realize that they got put out there. Thank you for that. The samples of all these tiles that I'm talking about are out in the lobby. Going back up, I believe the elevations for the interior of the restrooms are up higher. Actually, maybe they were lower. Here we go. So Barnett Hall restrooms, we are going to be going into the restrooms and having tile up almost 7 feet on the wall. It's 6 inches plus 3 foot plus 3 foot plus 4, so it's 6'10". So we will have wall tile all throughout the restrooms. We'll have mirrors above the sinks. This is a cutaway, so you can see one toilet, but the other one's covered in the women's restroom. And then have 2 sinks and a very comfortable area to use the facilities in as well. And this is a elevation of the men's room in Barnett Hall. Again, we'll have the large tile up 7 foot on the wall with a decorative in between as well. And having a changing area is one of the things that we've talked about a lot for our kings and Kings and Queens Ministry. Right now, what we will be doing for this is we will be planning for the future, putting in equipment and utilities to be able to put one of those in the future. But part of what we looked into is you do have to have people that are trained to be able to operate an adult changing table and take care of adults. So we're not going to be installing it at this point in time. Just have the ability, if we can get to the point that where we can use them here, we'll be able to install it. These are the elevations for the restrooms at the front. We'll look at those in just a few minutes in the cabinetry in the back as well. For the most part, that's what we're going to be doing during the first phase. Is there anybody that has any questions about the gymnasium remodel as well as the restrooms? Just quick questions, please, just for clarifications. That the gymnasium, Barnett Hall bathrooms, and bathrooms at the gym would start in January-ish. And we'll get a little bit more clarity at the end, because I'm going to be making a plea to you guys, because we're going to have to get a call to arms to be able to do a lot of this. The door between the gym and Barnett Hall is currently not within the plans to replace. It is something that we will have to be doing maintenance on. We'll need to hire somebody specifically to kind of deal with that door. If you're not familiar with it, there's some problems with the closures on that door. The door jamb is embedded in brick. So as far as replacing the door jamb, it's incredibly difficult to do, and I think that's what that question alludes to. There's some things that have to be done with that, but it's not being dealt with underneath the construction. So that's a good question. Unfortunately, the construction will do a lot. We are going to make the church significantly better by the things that, there's been about 18 different committees work together on this over a year and a half, but we're not going to be able to solve all the church's problems either. Moving on to the second phase. We talked about demoing this area here for the family bathroom, and that will be done during the first phase. The rest of these dashed lines are going to be demoed during the second phase. One of the things that we have a challenge with on Sunday mornings, and I think most of the people in this room have really dealt with it, when we let out from service, if you go out this door right behind me and you turn to your left, everybody wants to talk to everybody that they see first. Well, the problem is we only have a little skinny area to get through. And then you can't even really see who's in the lobby that you want to dodge that person to go talk to the other person anyway, right? That was a joke. You're welcome to laugh at that. Some of my jokes are a little dry. So what we're looking at doing is taking out this 3'3" wall. Now, one of the challenges of that 3'3" wall, it just seems like we'll take out that 3 foot of wall. Well, the other part of that 3'3" wall is that 3'3" wall holds the roof up above our heads as we walk underneath that. So we've decided that during this phase of the construction, we are going to tackle that to open up that lobby to make it a lot more free-flowing and a lot more welcoming to those who visit for the first time, instead of, hey, where's the door to the sanctuary? Oh, you got to go around here to see it. We will be taking and digging a hole in the concrete. The current column is where that dot is. That is holding up a beam that goes from here to here. We will be digging up the concrete and putting a beam right here about my hand, and that beam will go across, holding up the roof, and then we'll build back and there still will be a little bit of an L there, but it's going to be a much slighter L. And so it'll add in 3 foot. 3 foot does not seem like a lot, but it adds a lot of visibility to that area to make it a lot easier for people to see. The other things that we're going to be doing up here in the front is right here along this wall, we'll be taking out all the finishes on this. and removing the sheetrock here, removing the countertop and the cabinets that are right here. And then we are going to be taking out this wall that is on the edge of the women's restroom. And guys, I don't know if we should be up in arms right now or not. And I'm speaking to the men in the room because the church has voted that we're going to make the women's restroom bigger. But what about us? Huh? How come we don't get a bigger room? My wife is not in here, is she? Oh, dang it. She's behind me. She was hiding me when I made that joke. I've been vetoed again. So men, we don't get a bigger restroom. However, I don't know that our restroom is actually a little bit better sized anyway at this point in time. We will be taking out all the stalls, but we are removing this wall right here at the choir room, and we'll be moving that about 1 foot. Some of the challenges that we have in here that have been reported back to us is these stalls right now are very narrow. I don't use the women's restroom, so I'm speaking from advice from other people, so keep that in mind. But these stalls are very narrow, as well as the door. You can see where the door swing comes very close to the toilet, and getting into the stall is a little bit difficult, and trying to maneuver with purses and other Bibles and everything else while you're in that stall is rather difficult. So that's the reason that we're moving this door over. And I'll show you the new layout for that here in just a moment. Keep in mind the width. Keep in mind the quantity of sinks as well, because we're going to be losing a sink, but keeping the same quantity of stalls. Another thing that we have a fairly significant problem at St. Mark's, and it's a significant problem that is a giant blessing, is we have too many Sunday school classes, or too large of Sunday school classes for the rooms that we have. And we have this area over here, right where it says 1A is where the old prayer room was, and this area over here, there's a table in here. Well, with the layout, trying to use the space that was there, this used to be a library. Now it is Kayla's office. It was built originally for a different purpose, and that we need it for a different purpose now. So we're going to be taking out these walls, and Kayla and I have spoken about where her office is going to be built back, and I'll show you that in just a minute as well. So that's taking out these walls to make this into a much better and easier utilized room. Okay, let's go to the build out of that. So I still count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toilets here, but I only count 3 sinks. And a lot of the reason for that is you'll also notice in this new layout that there is more room in between the side of the toilet and the stalls. Just as a comparison, I can go back up. Not quickly, I guess. Very skinny, and the door swings right there. Back down to this, where the door does not swing near as close to the toilet, and there's quite a few more inches in between that as well. However, to get that layout, we had to go from 4 sinks down to 3. In the men's room, there's currently 2 urinals and 2 toilets. Due to code, we did have to lose 1 sink because the new code requirements require us to have another toilet added in, and so that's why we've added another toilet into the men's room. So there'll be 3 toilets in the men's room. So I guess we don't get more space, we just get more toilets. And then the women get more space, but the same number of toilets. Is that a good compromise in the argument of bathrooms? What's that? Yes, as long as everybody is happy. So, but it does give us a lot more room. Also, you'll notice that there's more room in between this wall and the edge of the stall, which is also a complaint on that as well. And it's a real hassle to get in there and use the restroom, particularly if you have mobility issues. Then if we move over here to the classroom, what we're going to be doing with Kayla's office, instead of having that wall come out here like an angle like this, it's going to be squared off. It is going to give her plenty of room. A lot of what Kayla does have to do and what she provides to the church functions is that with CDO and the parents that are involved, they do have to have conferences inside of her office, so she does need a large office for parents to come in and talk to Kayla one-on-one about their children and how they're progressing and things of that nature. Then also with this classroom, it's going to be one large classroom instead of two. It gives us a classroom that is close to the same size as room 17, which is not shown on this particular page of the plans, but the room that has the barricade or the divider in between it, we don't ever use the divider, is going to be about that same size of room. Same amount of people can go in there, which opens this up to a lot more use. Hopefully, that being said, this classroom, which is really the choir room, maybe the classroom that is meeting in here currently can come over here and move, have the classroom to themselves and have their own space. The other thing that, if going back to the first phase, we're going to take away the storage over here. We still do need to have an area to put our toiletries with our extra toilet paper, extra trash liners that we put in trash cans. So you never throw trash in a trash can unless you have a trash liner in it. That was just a bonus. Don't ever throw anything in the trash can unless you have a trash liner. And then other things that are going as well. One of the things that we're working very closely with the contractors is the swing of this door. The architect has called for us to buy brand new doors. Most of the doors that we have are in very good condition, and we're going to be reusing those. We just have to relocate them. So the storage area is an example of that. It shows that the door is going to open this direction, but more than likely it's actually going to open the other direction to make it to where we can reuse doors and hardware in different areas as well. All in the goal of making sure that we have the best product at the best price, giving us the best value overall. This area over here and this area, just as a note, this area here is very open right now, even to the extent on Sunday mornings, some people may have a one-on-one conversation here. It's going to get a little bit more narrow. It's not going to feel cramped by any means, particularly when the choir is leaving from here to the other area, but it's going to be much more like a narrow hallway than it is currently because we're giving that room over to the women's restroom. And that's really the only thing that we're losing by extending this women's restroom is the ability to have a conversation right in front of a doorway, which I don't know if you heard that, have a conversation right in front of a doorway. Maybe that's not the best idea anyway. But the office is not going to be affected, just the location of the door and this area. This area over here might be slightly more congested as well because the angle of the wall is not going to get there, but that's what we're looking to give up to get a better classroom to talk and relate with other Christians. The area, keep in mind this detail on 5A9.4. These are going to be new cabinetry here. It's going to be much more specifically and designed for storage area of the cloths that we hang from the pulpit up in the front, the green that you're seeing in the front of our sanctuary right now. Those will be stored there. The candles, all the different things for the altar are going to be stored in this cabinetry right here. The other thing and instead of having a flat countertop right here, we're going to move it around over here to this side. Now there's a lot of discussion about where we put donuts and who wants to put donuts on the left, who wants to put donuts on the right. I think if we were going to get a contingency of that, we would probably have about 16 different factions of donut locations. Part of what we're limited to is the location of the sink. We are moving the donuts over here to a cabinet. That way we can have a sink to be able to wash hands, to do a very light amount of dishes, things of that nature. And we can get that from the area the sink is right now. And currently, we never use this countertop right here for donuts, because if we do, then this area here just becomes, it's always incredibly congested anyway. We're not going to necessarily relieve that congestion because we're not using that cabinets, but we may be able to use the cabinet if we move it around here over to the front. Ultimately, in the end, we're going to need to make sure that we're polite to other people. You go get your donut, and then you step away so other people can go get your donut. Unless you're looking to have multiple apple fritters in the morning, and then maybe you can guard that extra apple fritter by sitting there and having a conversation. And then look at the possibility of having a coffee station here, or still having coffee up there in the front, but it gives us more options as we build that out anyway. Right as I talk about one of the most contentious areas of the entire church is where the donuts are located. Are there any quick questions about clarifications? What was that? The bathroom doors are going to be 3 foot. They are currently 3 foot, so they're going to be the same size of what they have now. And a lot of the reason for that 3 foot opening is because that is the requirement by ADA requirements. If you have a wheelchair going through, you have to have a clearance of, I think it's 32 or 33 inches. And by the time you come from this door jamb right here to the outside of this door, you have to have a 3 foot opening for a wheelchair to come in and turn that corner. That's actually a lot of what these circles are right here, and that's the turnaround for a wheelchair to get inside the door and make a turn here and then go on back here towards the back. As well as you'll see a circle back here in the larger stalls for the handicap stalls. A lot of those options there, I think, we would be making as a church because we want to be open and available for anybody who comes through our doors. But quite honestly, we can't do the construction anyway because the city has those codes, and we're going to be meeting those city codes, and a lot of times exceeding. In the case of our family bathroom, we are exceeding those codes to make it more comfortable for our constituents to come in and use the restroom as well. Okay, I wanted to now go down and look at a few of those elevations to see what the inside of those bathrooms look like. I'm skipping over a lot of the details, by the way, that are in these plans that are needed for construction, but not necessarily needed for the conversation at hand. So we will be putting in new floor tile. This is a finished schedule that shows you that it's the 12 by 18 inch tile or 12 by 24. That's escaping my memory. It could be 18 to 24 inches. So it'll be oblong tiles, ceramic tile coming into the men's room and the women's room. So the finishes are going to be updated as well. And then when we look at the elevations, when it comes down to the women's room is what we're looking at. These are going to be the stalls here. You can tell that the dividers in between the stalls are going to be much wider. The doors are going to be a standard door. It's going to be about the same size door going into the stalls for two reasons. A, quite honestly, a larger door for whatever reason does cost quite a bit more. And you would think, first off, getting a larger door to go in there would be better. However, if you do get a longer door, it also swings into the toilet and gives you less room to be able to maneuver once you are inside the stall. So there's a little bit of a trade-off. Do you want a larger door to be able to walk through or have a larger area to maneuver once you're past that door? And so we've decided to get these stalls that have larger dividers in between the two to give you more room inside versus having a larger door. You will have 3 sinks here, have a mirror above it, and then again what we're looking at doing is having the tile that goes from floor up to about 7 foot tall with a design strip about halfway up with a different floor base down here at the bottom. The men's elevation is very similar. Again, we're going down from three sinks to 2 sinks. But we are going to end up having 3 toilets in the men's room and 2 urinals. Keeping in mind that the reason that we made that decision is purely because we have to, due to the city saying we have to have a certain number of toilets for the size of our buildings. Evidently, they expect us to have 3,500 people here every weekend. Which, Randy, keep preaching well, and we'll do that. Okay. Some of the other elevations of the cabinetry. This, when we're looking at the coffee bar, again, here we're going back and touching on that where do we put the donuts? We'll have some room up here to make sure we still have some coffee cups, possibly some sweet and low and creamers and things of that nature to have up here in case we run out. Then also have plenty of room for donuts to be laid out, and a sink. And I would imagine that as we morph and choose, I've been going to church here for 41 years, and we move the donut table around in the lobby to try to get flow as much as we possibly can. But oftentimes what it comes down to is just being polite, moving away to allow other people to come in and get your donut. Have plenty of room to put up a graphic. There's been some discussion of whether or not we follow the design of our stained glass window up here with the 3 rings, or do we follow the design of the GMC, which is almost identical, but it does have a few different deals that are slightly different colored in them to put up there in front of that. We currently are not going to be putting up any shelves at this location, but may so in the future. The other cabinetry that we are be doing, this is where the old coffee bar was. It's not currently used, so it's going to have much more usable cabinet space for storing items that are used directly into the sanctuary, instead of having to hide those in other areas that is much more difficult to find. And then also, you'll see that we are going to be having 2 different water fountains. We're going to be putting in a lower water fountain. This is currently the water fountain that we have, and we will be adding this water fountain in. Other cabinetry that we'll be putting in is in the classroom that we're adding by taking away the 2 classrooms and making them into one. We're going to be putting in cabinetry there that has a countertop. It's not going to have any upper cabinets at this point in time, but it'll have plenty of space underneath, being that it's that entire length of the wall. But that'll be room for people to be able to put out coffee pots, be able to put out snacks and things of that nature for a Sunday school class, although there won't be any water or a sink located at that area. Okay, and that pretty much, other than details like this, the inside of those cabinets that we're looking at the old coffee bar that we're going to be using for storage. I think Kelly and Randy might be very interested in that. There's going to be shelves involved in that. These are some of the cutouts of how many shelves we're going to have in the other at the classroom and at the coffee bar for the donuts, what kind of shelving that we're going to have in there. We're going to look at the restrooms. When you look at the sinks in the restrooms, they are going to have the pipes that are covered and have a outside area on that. So when you walk into that, you're not going to just see the P-trap underneath that, or you're not going to burn your legs. And that is basically what we're going to be doing for the construction going forward. And again, what we're looking at on that is starting to do this work as soon as in January. A lot of what that comes down to is, we're currently doing a capital campaign. A lot of the timing of when we start this project is when can we afford this project. We do have a lot of money. St. Mark's has been very generous and gotten a lot of that money given to us up front. And so we are looking to say that January looks very good, but we do not have that money in the bank right now. So that's a little bit of a question. Say, hey, can we start in January? Well, we should be able to, because we kind of expect that to happen over the next few months for a little bit more money to come in for us, just to get us over the top. The other thing that we're looking at, and it's very important to note, that when we're looking at the cost of this, the entire contract is going to be about $895,000. That includes phase one and that includes phase two. However, when I state that number, that means that we're taking $48,000 out of the contract because St. Martin's can do the demolition on a lot of this work. So those dashed numbers, the dashed lines that we're looking at, all that stuff that we say we're going to be tearing out this wall, we're going to be tearing out that wall, we're going to be tearing out the floor in the gymnasium. It's me, not the contractor. Yes, big muscle right there. I agree. And a lot of that is a lot of the people that care about this project that I see here. It may not be the people in this room, but gathering in those people in the church that may or may not be able to actually give a lot of money because they're not quite in the stage of life that we are in this room, but they are in a stage of life where they have a lot more youth and vitality. They can give that vitality and that sweat equity over here to the church to be able to get that. And there are quite a few members of the church that do know how to do this work and can guide those people that have lost numbers back and do it. Now, when I say the $895,000 for the contract, we're doing $48,000 worth of work. We'll have to get some dumpsters. We're going to have to rent some equipment, do that kind of work. But keep in mind, when you're seeing the youth, a lot of you guys have children, a lot of you guys have friends that can come in to do that work. We will have to have quite a few weekends, as well as quite a few weeks that we come in and do a lot of work. So that's a lot of what the plan is there. And in talking with Warren, he is very willing and able to work around us. But in a lot of ways, we'll have to focus on some of the areas that they have to get into first so they don't slow down doing construction. We don't want to do the demolition and then cause the cost of this project going on longer. But historically saying, most of the demolition that we've done on the work that we've done here at St. Paul has done that themselves. It works out very well. Okay. So we'll be making that announcement many times over the next month or two to make sure that we have enough people to show up and can do a wheelbarrow and get trash out and maybe even be able to drive a jackhammer or a bobcat.
That sounds dangerous.
It does sound dangerous.
There are some people who are not going to be allowed. I'm not going to name names.
Jimmy J.
Maybe. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging around. Just a couple things before we go. We will be continuing to fundraise as we go on this. One of the great lessons we have at St. Mark's is that even though we've only been, it's only been about 6 months or so since we had our pledge drive, we've had quite a few new people come to the church, and we'll give them an opportunity to participate in this as well. And so, matter of fact, we need to draw up some new cards to reflect the timing on that. So, if there's anybody here that hasn't had a chance to make a pledge and like to, then we will make that possible for you. We have those cards out there. And then the other thing that I want to encourage everyone is that Leslie has put the stuff out here on the table, so make sure this is really helpful. Thank you. I think that you should have an idea of what we're looking at now. But it's really helpful now to see what he did here and look at some of the pictures and things that have been done and some of the fixed finishes. And then that really will kind of give you the whole picture. Those are out there on the donut table. So I invite you to take a look at that as you head out also. So anything else? Y'all have any questions for us before we go?
I'm just excited to see God working.
God's doing good things around here.
Yes, God is doing wonderful things. And one of the things I was it sounds like a correction a little bit. I appreciate the accolades you gave me, the things that I did up here in presenting this. Yes, I'm the guy that got up here and presented this to you, but keep in mind,
that all of this could not come around because of me. I didn't do all of this. I was involved quite a bit, but there was a lot of people that gave advice, including the staff, including Randy, including one team that worked very closely on the front church and told the architect what we wanted. That was about 12 people. A different team of about 12 people talked to the architect and said, these are the things that we wanted back in the gymnasium. And then we spent the next 7 months trying to get all those things lined out and make sure that they work together. Because one person wants this, one person wants that. We have to compromise. We have to do the things together. And we've done that with a lot of different input from around the church to get to the best things that we possibly can. And I think we've come up with a fantastic product.
I'm really excited.
Yes, and I think that we're gonna be able to do ministry at St. Mark's at a different level. Again, it's a level that is not ostentatious, but it is very comfortable and pleasing to God. And we can actually have people come in here, meet Jesus Christ, and know who He is.
That's good.
So thank you, team. All those
When
people.
you question, it will not be, no.
It will not have any amenities on the second floor that you can't do on the first floor. You will not have any, there will be no mandatory reason that you need to do that.
All right, anything else? All right, keep praying, keep giving, and we'll be getting at this thing before you know it.
Very true.
All right.
I know it goes in prayer.
Yeah, you want to lead us?
I would love it.
All right.
Father God, we thank you so much for the blessings that you bestowed upon us, those things that you showered upon us so quickly. God, you are good. Jesus, you are good. Holy Spirit, you are moving, and we ask that you not stop. We pray, Father God, that you would help this church become your church, that we would continue to make an impact in Beverly, Oklahoma, that is powerful and lasting. We thank you for the blessings that you've shown us in the past, and we ask that you would open our hearts, open our minds, and just open our closed fists, that we might be able to grab upon the things that you have out there in front of us, so we can use those blessings to reach those who do not know you. Empower our hearts and our minds as we know the words, we know the opportunities, and we see the people that we need to witness to and we need to love, that you might be known in all this. In your name we pray.
Amen. Thank you all again for being here. Stop. Grab some snacks.